Hey guys, now you can follow me on Facebook. Just go to facebook.com/UltraMaximusReviews. Hello YouTube, Ultra Maximus back with another 31 horror toys in 31 days! And today we're taking a look at the Tales of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Monsters and Mutants complete turtle set. So I found these at my local Walmart, and I hadn't actually expected to do this review, so this is a bonus review. And thus no stop motion. I just kind of put this together really quick, and this is going to be kind of a lengthy review because I'm going to look at all four of these at one time, and these looked really cool. These are the Turtles done up in the classic monsters. So we've got Raphael as the vampire Raph, Leonardo as the mutant mummy Leo, we've got Donatello as Frankendon, and then Michelangelo is Werewolf Mikey. And this is really, really cool. This reminds me of the original Turtles line. Back in the 90s, they did a monster set where one of them was Freddy Krueger, Jason Voorhees, Michael Myers, and then the other one was Leatherface. And I thought that was kind of cool. So those were the modern movie monsters of the time, back in the late 80s, early 90s. And this is kind of the classic monsters with the werewolf, Frankenstein, the mummy, and Dracula. So definitely pretty cool to see this. So just kind of to take a closer look. So each one of them has the Tales of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles on the top, and then they all have their Halloween version, which is very, very cool. So here is Raphael as a vampire with a cloth cape nonetheless. So that's pretty interesting. So he is a vampire Raph. Now I notice, looking at the figure itself versus the paint apps, he does have the bow tie painted on, but he does not have the buttons painted there. Also, looking at this image here compared to there, there's no pockets painted on the suit. The eyes are not painted on the bat, and anything else that kind of sticks out. Looking at the back of the packaging, they're supposed to be white wraps, it looks like, on the Psy and Vampire Steak, but of course we just have brown. And that's pretty common set for Playmates, unfortunately, but it's always kind of interesting to see what paint apps didn't actually make it. So next in line we have Mummified Mummy Leo. That's kind of hard to say for some reason. So there he is, looking kind of cool, and so there's that. Now he does not have, it looks like Raphael is the only one that's got the picture of them. Maybe it's because he's got the bat clips on Raph. Bat clips on Raph. But yeah, so he's got the little monsters up there. I like the chain on the side. Let's see if I can get a picture of that. Yeah, right there. That looks kind of cool. But there he is, all mummied out, looking all kinds of neat. Now on his, what looks different on his get-up? Really, about the only thing that looks different is he does not have black painted fingernails versus this on the back. Everything else looks pretty much the same on Leo, which is cool. So we didn't miss out much there. Let's look at Donatello as Frankenstein. So yeah, there's Donnie as Frankenstein. Frankendon, very cool. And then looking at his, oh, he's got these little crystal things on his back. That's kind of cool. Looks like, oh, the feet, they just, his boots are all black down there. The back of the package shows that there should have been some paint apps on the feet. And then looks like on his chest there's a lot of paint work on there that did not make the actual figure, which is a bit unfortunate, so that's kind of interesting. And then we get Mikey as a werewolf, so that really reminds me of Teen Wolf with Michael J. Fox. I like his nunchucks are bones. That's kind of cool. It comes with a slice of pizza. They did paint his fingernails black, so that's kind of cool. So yeah, Monster Mikey, and then let's see, what is different about Mikey versus this. The jacket looks about the same. Okay, so the big difference with Mikey, his knees are all brown, and then they have some green on the actual figure itself there. And the feet, they're all green on the figure. And then on the back of the package, it shows that there was some brown supposed to be painted on there. And then his mouth is painted in black, and it's just green on the figure itself. So, Playmates and their lack of paint jobs strike again. But that pretty much does it for the packaging itself. Let's go ahead and get these classic monster turtles out of package and see what we think. Now, before we actually get the figures out of the package, one thing I did want to note that I didn't bring up on the back of the box, there are two other figures in this wave. There is a Monster Hunter Leo and a Monster Hunter Raph. And they did have those at the store, but I did not pick them up as I just was really more interested in the monsters, to be honest. I wish they would have done maybe a Shredder and a Splinter instead and put them in some kind of Halloween garb. I think that would have been cooler. But yeah, I mean, these guys look okay. I guess it looks like Leo is supposed to kind of look like Van Helsing maybe, and I'm not sure about Raph, but I like the little you know, derby hat that Raph's got there. I think that looks pretty cool. But the set really is all about the monsters. So let's go ahead and see how they came out. So here we have the four turtles out of the packaging, and as usual, I mean, there are things I like about this set and things that I don't like. I do have to say, for the most part, I really do dig this set. I think they are a lot of fun, and this is going to look great up on my horror shelf. I don't know if I want to put them in the horror shelf or with the other turtles. I mean, they're just really fun, and they've got a lot of really great little details, each one of them, and they are very unique to each one, which is very, very cool. I will say that the paint apps, I mean, Playmates is just notoriously bad on missing paint apps, and this is none the different. Although I will say, overall, this probably has better paint app than a lot of figures I have seen in the past. So I'm going to talk about each figure, so the accessories they come with, and then we'll take closer looks at the figures, kind of like what I usually do. So let's go ahead and start with Raphael, I guess. Now, the one thing I do like about Raphael is that he comes with the most accessories, which is pretty cool. I like, in it kind of a close-up here, his size are actually, and it might be hard to tell, I don't know if you're going to be able to tell in the camera or not, but the brown size are actually wood. So it's like 3 stakes tied into one, which is pretty cool. And then he has the other vampire stake that looks like a different kind of toy if you turn it the other way around. I'm just saying it does. The cloth cape really kind of surprised me on this figure. I was not expecting that. That is very old school. The one thing I will say on the paint apps, and it's kind of hard to tell with the cape on it, but here we go. The pads on his elbows, they're just green, and they should have been painted red. It's not that noticeable because he's got the red cloth on the cape holding it onto his arms, but that's just kind of bad. He does have all of his paint apps around the bandana, which is nice, unlike some of the other turtles. The other thing is he does have, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to get this on camera or not, but he does have the bow tie painted. It's just that the chain around, that might show it a little bit better, the chain around the cape kind of hides it. But then they've got the pinstripes over that, so that's kind of, I don't know. As far as articulation, his legs move back more than they move forward because of his coat. He has the smallest shell of all of them. He's got a joint at his knee. And then there is nothing at the ankles. There is articulation at the elbow joint, and then his wrists twist, both of them, and then the little bat just kind of clamps onto his arm. It doesn't have any articulation at all. If I can get this guy to stand. Come on, buddy. Here we go. Now, next up, we've got Leonardo as the Mummy, and I like this one. I didn't think I was really going to dig this one too much, but I do like him quite a bit. I love the straps. He has this long bandana, which is interesting. Articulation, his head turns just like the others, kind of back and forth, and then he's got a joint there, his elbow joint, and then his hands also twist, and then his legs kick up, they kick back, they kick out. His knees move, and then he has toe articulation on the right foot, which is interesting, just the right foot. So that kind of gives him a little bit more posability. I'd rather have had that toe articulation on both feet, but I guess that kind of gives him the stagger effect of a mummy, what it's supposed to. Now, what I really like about the, was it a scimitar sword? It's got the cobra on the hilt, which is kind of neat, and then he's got his little scarab. I think the scarab should be running the other way up his leg, but it is what it is. The snake, it does come off. It's just kind of hanging around him, so that's not permanently attached. So that's kind of cool. And again, I like that guy a lot more than I thought I was going to. Donatello, always one of my favorite turtles, and this out of this set has to be probably my favorite. He is just crazy looking as Frankenstein. I'm really digging it. He's a lot taller than the other turtles because of his big Franken boots. One nice thing, I love the little bolt on the top of his head, and he's got all these cracks in his armor. He also just has articulation in the head. The arms do go up. That does not hamper it. And then he's got some articulation at the elbow. His wrists do not twist, though, which is very strange. And then he's got articulation at the hip there, and then single joints there. Nothing in the feet. The feet are actually hollow underneath. And he's got his little lightning rod, which is very cool. I love these little bulbs on his back. I think that looks very cool, very wicked. Just a neat looking little Frankenstein figure. I don't know, there's something about it. I like it. Alright, and then we've got Mikey as the werewolf, and he is the smallest of the turtles, and quite frankly, the weakest in paint app as well as articulation. And so, I mean, his head turns back and forth. The arms swivel and turn. This one has a joint here, and this one's supposed to have a joint, but it's locked into place and will not move, and I almost ripped it trying to get it to move. So you may have to dip it in some hot water. His wrists do twist. His leg kicks up. He's got a single joint at the knee, and then he has a toe hinge on his left foot, which is kind of interesting. But this is what really irritates me. I love the Wolfpack little logo on the back of his jacket, but it would have been better if they painted it white. But then they didn't even bother painting the back of the bandana orange, and then they just left his shell green, just a flat green color, which is kind of ugh. And then, of course, he doesn't have the fur painted on his feet down there. But, I mean, that's okay because he's got fur all over his little green body. And I can't really argue too much there with that. But he's got brown patches everywhere. And he's got little brown patches on his elbow pads. So, I don't know. It just... I think it's... Well, the joint is really bugging me. And then the lack of orange on the back of the bandana is just... That's kind of sad. So if I was going to rank these turtles in order of favorite to least favorite, I would have to say Donatello, definitely the best figure out of the line. I like probably Leo second best, surprisingly. Then I would have to say it's the vampire Raphael, and then I'd have to put Mikey at the bottom of the pack. Oh, see what I did there? Pack, wolf pack, huh? So taking a closer look at the vampire Raphael, I like the figure. I like the idea of him being a vampire. He's got the slick back hair. I like the fangs. He's got all the accessories. I love the sai as being 3 stakes in one. That's pretty cool. I like the fact he's got the suit, but it's, I don't know, kind of weird. I think they could have done that a little bit better. The cape, being cloth, is very different. I'm just shocked that it's actually cloth in this day and age and not some kind of piece of plastic. The lack of paint apps on his elbow pads is kind of bothersome, but it does help that the straps for the cloth cape going around kind of make up for that. He's got his little bat. I like how the little bat looks like a little Ninja Turtle. It's even got a little black bandana, but the lack of paint apps, you just don't get to see it, which is unfortunate. So taking a look at the bottom part of the figure, we get the nice big red bandanas, the big red pads on his knees. I like the contrast with the black on his pants and the suit. He's got the white wrappings around on his feet. I kind of wish they would have made those black, but at the same time, he's still supposed to be a ninja, I suppose. So I'm not going to fault it for having the white wraps down there, although he's really the only one that does. I think it would have been better if he had some slick black shoes on or something. And of course, we get the vampire cape with the very Batman-esque kind of cuts around it that kind of round out the color scheme of black and red. So taking a closer look at the Mummy Leo, again, this is one of my more favorite of the four turtles. I love all the bandage wraps around. I think they did a good job. I like the little scimitar with the snake. The snake wrapping around him is a nice touch. I definitely dig that. The blue goes well with the white bandages, so I'm definitely digging that. He's got no blue elbow pads because the white bandages are covering it, and I'm fine with that. And the nice thing is we get this nice detail all around the body and the shell. He's got kind of a brownish, greenish color shell underneath the bandages and the snake. It's just a plain gold snake, but yeah, that's okay. He needs his black fingernails painted, though. I think that would have been nice since they were painted on the box. But overall, definitely a nice looking figure. So taking a look at Leo's legs, I really do like the wrap. I think they did a good job with all the wrap around it. At least there's paint apps all around it. That is very nice. I like the little scarab attached to his leg. I think that's cool, but I still think it should be going the other way around. The articulation on the one toe is interesting. I would have preferred if they would have done it for both, but it gives him kind of that dragging mummy look, which is cool. He just needs his little toenails painted black, which I could easily do myself, but come on, Playmates, at least give us proper paint apps that you show on the back of the package. So taking a closer look at Donatello, the Frankenstein monster, this is probably the best turtle of them all. I love all the details. I wish there were more silver paint apps. I like the shoulder. The one bolt in the head is nice. He's got stitches all over his head and on the back of the shell. The cracks in the front shell, very nice. I wish they would have done more of the silver paint on the belt. I like how he's got the black belt and the black armbands, but there should be the silver paint apps with the bolts and stuff on the armbands still. Again, those are easy fixes I can do, but I shouldn't have to do it. The bulbs on the back, I don't know, they look like crystal bulbs or something. That is very awesome. The big long bandana for him, very, very cool. He's got these very dirty wraps around his wrists. I really dig that. And he's got a lightning rod for his bow staff, and that's kind of fun. It would have been kind of cool if they would have put a little bit of a yellow translucent plastic at the top, as if it had caught some electricity or something. Other than that, I mean, this is a really fun and intricate looking little turtle figure. Now, taking a look at Donatello's legs, he's got the big Frankenstein boots I really do dig. Lots of detail in them, but no paint apps, which is unfortunate. There's a lot of spots that could use the silver paint app that we saw on the box itself. The nice big tall heels definitely elevates him above the other turtles, which I do like. Now, the one thing I will give the feet, you do see his little turtle toes sticking out of the boot there, which is kind of nice. That's a good touch. But, you know, he could use some paint apps on his fingernails. Other than that, I mean, the black and the big heavy boots, I mean, totally make the Frankenstein figure. So taking a closer look at the Mikey Werewolf, yeah, I mean, he's the smallest figure, and he's probably at the bottom of my list as far as favorites go, but there are things I do like about it. I love the black fingernails. I like the look on the face, his kind of slick back hair, the M for Michelangelo on the vest. Looks a lot like Teen Wolf, which I really do appreciate. I love the bone nunchucks. I think those are nice. We get fur tufts on his arm bandanas there, or bandanas, pads, and then it says Wolfpack and on the back of the jacket, but it's not painted, so that needs to be painted white, which is unfortunate. And they didn't finish painting the rest of the bandana, which is really, really bad. That just irks me. Now, he does come with a slice of pizza, which is very cool. The biggest problem with this figure as far as QC goes, this elbow joint does not work on this figure. I mean, it It will not twist. It will not move. It's like it's glued in there. So I don't know what happened at the factory, but he's permanently got his nunchucks in a twirl, which, I mean, it's not too terribly bad, but that really kind of irks me. That QC issue, along with the lack of a couple key paint apps on the figure, I mean, that's why he's at the bottom of this list. So taking a look at the feet on Mikey, again, I love the toe articulation on the left foot there. It kind of gives him a walking or creeping kind of a pose. He does have the paint apps on his toes, which is nice, but the box shows some fur tufts coming out from underneath the pants, which we do not get, but I will forgive this figure for that because he does have the green fur all over the body because he's a turtle werewolf, which is really, really strange. I do like the little rips on the bottom of the jeans. I think that is pretty fun. We do get white paint apps along the elastic on his jacket, and then we get little tufts of fur at his knees, painted brown, which is really good. All the paint apps on the front of the jacket look really, really nice. The biggest downfall for Mikey here on the bottom half of the figure is this turtle shell. It is green, which, I mean, turtles do have green shells, some green to brown, but this is the same exact color green as the rest of his body, and I would have preferred it a different color, of maybe a different shade of green. And really, that's probably, you know, the biggest downfall to the figure as far as paint goes. So is the Tales of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Monsters and Mutants set something that you want in your Turtles collection? Well, I'm going to say yes. Even if you're an older Turtles fan versus this new generation, the new generation is going to like it because it's the Nickelodeon-style Turtles in a Halloween, getup. The older fans are going to like this because we're used to seeing these wacky costumes in Turtles from the Turtles lines, and we definitely get this. And like I said earlier in the video, it really reminds me of a throwback to the Jason and Leatherface and Michael Myers and the other Freddy Krueger, movie monster Turtles. I think this is a really nice homage to that, but taking it to the classic monsters, which is very, very cool, and less copyright issues, I guess, right? They definitely have a lot of really good perks. The biggest drawback is the lack of paint apps on some of them, and that's a Playmates thing. They just do that on every single wave of figures. I do have a QC issue with my Michelangelo, but it doesn't really impact it as far as posing on the shelf. I like the set. They're a lot of fun, and they're definitely worth $8 a piece, which at the time of the recording, I got them at my local Walmart for $8.88 a piece. There are two other figures. There's a Leo and Raph Monster Hunter, but if you're going to get them, you definitely want the monsters. So there they are, the Monsters and Mutants squad of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles from Tales of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles for 31 horror toys in 31 days!
Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you like this video, thumbs it up. If you hate this video, thumbs it down. To watch more Ultra Maximus, click on the links to the right. Don't forget to subscribe and share, like us on Facebook, and look for more videos in the future.